That night, I thought I would finally get some rest. But what happened still haunts me. I woke to the feeling of someone touching me. Slow, deliberate, almost intimate. At first, I told myself it was a dream, until the air shifted, the sheets moved, and I realized I wasn't alone. Every breath grew heavier, every second stretched longer, and the presence beside me only grew bolder. I couldn't see it, but I felt it, close, warm, claiming me in the dark. And here's the part that still makes my chest tighten. It didn't feel like an intruder. It felt like something that already knew me too well. I remember lying there, the weight of the day pulling me into sleep, the kind where your body melts into the mattress and every sound outside fades into nothing. The window was open just a crack, letting in a faint breeze that stirred the curtains, and I told myself the cool air would help me drift off. But instead, it brought something else. At first, it was only a shift in the air, a pressure, subtle, but enough to make me hold my breath. The hairs on my arms lifted, my chest tightened, and suddenly I wasn't so sure I was alone anymore. I forced myself to stay still, to listen, but the silence only made it worse. That's when I felt the mattress dip ever so slightly at the edge near my legs. My stomach dropped. Someone or something was there. I told myself it was a dream, some trick of a restless mind. But then it touched me, a cold graze against my ankle, slow and deliberate, like fingertips testing the edge of my skin. I froze. My breath quickened, shallow and uneven, but I couldn't bring myself to move. The touch lingered, sliding upward along my calf with a strange gentleness, almost affectionate. And yet, there was nothing gentle in the way my body reacted. My pulse hammered so hard it ached in my throat. I wanted to sit up, to scream, but the mattress shifted again, this time closer. A warmth pressed near my thigh, not heavy but insistent. And then came the breath, warm, close, brushing against my leg through the fabric of my shorts. The sensation was so real that every logical thought slipped away. I whispered in my head, "It's not real. I'm asleep. I'm dreaming." But deep down, I knew better. Dreams don't move the blanket an inch at a time. Dreams don't make the hem of your shirt lift against your ribs, as if caught between invisible fingers. Dreams don't whisper against your skin without sound. My body tensed as the invisible presence lingered near my hip. The air was charged now, heavy, alive, like it was wrapping itself around me. I could smell it, a faint, earthy sweetness, intoxicating in a way that made me dizzy. I hated the way part of me leaned into it, the way fear and something else tangled in my chest. And then, my hair moved, not from my own breath, not from the fan in the corner. Strands slid across my cheek as though someone was brushing them aside, clearing the space near my face. My heart nearly stopped. That was when I realized. It wasn't just touching me, it was studying me. I kept my eyes shut, too afraid of what I might see if I looked, but I couldn't shut out the feeling of it leaning closer, closer, until the warmth of its breath hovered inches from my lips. My chest rose and fell in quick, shallow gasps, my body betraying the terror I wanted to hide. And just when I thought I couldn't take another second, something grazed my jawline, so soft I thought I imagined it. But I didn't, because every nerve in my body lit up at once. The touch along my jawline lingered, and I felt the faintest trail move downward, tracing the hollow of my throat. My breath hitched, my pulse wild in my chest. It wasn't harsh, not forceful. If anything, it was too gentle, too deliberate, the kind of touch that made my skin tingle long after it passed. I wanted to move, to shove it away, but I stayed frozen, trapped between fear and a strange pull I couldn't explain. The mattress shifted again, and I knew whatever was with me wasn't just near, it was climbing closer. I felt a weight by my hip, then the soft brush of air as though someone had leaned over me. My shirt lifted slightly, exposing a sliver of skin to the cool night air. I gasped softly, unable to stop myself. It heard me. I knew it did, because in that instant the touch became more certain, more claiming. Fingers glided across my ribs, each movement slow, savoring. I bit down hard on my lip, desperate not to make a sound. But then the scent came stronger, earthy, metallic, sweet. It filled my lungs until my head spun. I felt lightheaded, almost drunk. And the worst part was, part of me wanted to sink into it. Just as I thought I could bear no more, something shifted my hair, fingers, carefully weaving through strands, brushing them back as though clearing space to look at me. And then, a slow inhale, not mine. It's as though it was breathing me in, memorizing me. My stomach clenched, my chest tightened. Why did it feel like it wasn't just touching me, but knowing me? And then, lips. Not quite a kiss, not quite a breath. Just the warmth of something brushing against my temple. My whole body tensed and I nearly cried out, but I didn't. I stayed silent because something told me that reacting would only invite it closer. But I was wrong. It leaned in anyway. The weight pressed harder against the mattress. A leg brushed against mine, bending it slightly, as if guiding me open. My body obeyed before my mind caught up, and when I realized what was happening, it was too late. I was caught in its rhythm, the way it moved me like a puppet on invisible strings. My lips parted as I gasped again, and that's when I felt it, warm breath fanning across them, lingering there, teasing, like it was deciding whether to claim me or torment me with the waiting. My body shook with adrenaline, but also something else I didn't dare name. And just when I thought it would happen, that it would finally bridge that last inch between us, it pulled back. The mattress lightened, the warmth faded, and for a second I almost believed it was gone. But then the whisper came, low, close, right against my ear. Not yet. The words didn't make sense, but the tone did. A promise, a warning. My heart slammed against my ribs as the air grew heavier again. I knew this wasn't over. It was only beginning. Suddenly, the weight lifted, and the room felt different. The stillness returned, but it wasn't the same stillness I'd felt before. It was thick, charged, as though something unseen lingered in the air, waiting. I held my breath, scanning the room, but everything was the same. The dresser, the chair, the faint light creeping in through the curtains. Nothing had changed, and yet I knew it had. The sensation didn't vanish. It only hid, like a shadow waiting to return. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. My body trembled, every part of me on high alert. Had it left? Was it just a dream? I didn't believe that. I couldn't. Then I saw it. A shadow. Faint, almost imperceptible at the foot of my bed. The same impression I'd felt before. Knees deep in the blanket, as though something had been there, pressing into the fabric. I reached out, but the shadow didn't move. It stayed, suspended in the air, the outline shifting slightly as if someone or something was standing just beyond the edge of my vision. I didn't understand. My heart raced in my chest. I tried to breathe normally, to think it through. Maybe it wasn't real. Maybe I had imagined the touch, the breath, the presence. But deep down, I knew better. It wasn't over. The whisper came again, softer now, almost imperceptible. Soon. That word echoed in my mind, a promise. Or was it a threat? I couldn't tell. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to block out the feeling, but it was impossible. I could still feel it. Something in the room with me, something that wasn't going anywhere. And the worst part? I couldn't escape it. I knew it would return. That presence would find its way back. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night to a presence you couldn't see, but could feel? Share your story in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more chilling encounters. Because when the lights go out, the real terror begins. Subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more spine-chilling stories and midnight encounters.